Good morning, this is Luke with Austin's Appliance Service. I wanted to go live this morning to clarify some things about a post I wrote the other day. Because so often I feel like those posts are a bit self-serving, and just, sometimes I feel like maybe people might perceive it as I'm trying to toot my own horn. I don't want to do that, and I don't even like the thought of being perceived that way. But that post that I was referring to, there was an appliance company that came out. The guy came out. He didn't do any diagnostics. He never took anything apart. He didn't test anything. He gave her no rhyme or reason as to why he was ordering that control, and just ordered that control. That is one of the most dead giveaways or telltale signs that whoever's in your house doesn't know what they're doing, because the control is the knee-jerk reaction of, it's the Hail Mary pass. If you don't know what's going on, because I've seen it so many times following out other people, other servicers, other guys from other companies that don't know what they're doing. And what do they do every time? If it's electronic, anything. If it's a electronic controlled oven, refrigerator, dryer, washer, doesn't matter, dishwasher, it's doing something. They don't know how to figure it out. They don't know what's wrong. That is always the thing that they will change first, is the control. If you ever get a service provider in your home and you're just not feeling like they really know what they're doing, you're going to get that vibe, right? You're going to know. You're going to be like, they're not explaining anything to you. They are not really testing anything. They're not walking you through why they're doing what they're doing. And they just kind of, I need the control. That's a big red flag that they don't really know what's wrong. So that's what I want to communicate. But I do also want people to understand, I'm not trying to say I've never made a mistake. I'm not trying to say I've never screwed up. I'm not trying to say that I have not had jobs where I got it wrong. I have got it wrong plenty of times over 20, 23, 24 years. I've been wrong plenty. In the service world, I find that though people never like to be in the situation, right? They want it fixed the first time. But also a good indication of what makes a good service provider is not just when he gets it right, but when he gets it wrong. What does he do then? This company that did this to this particular lady and ordered a control, and she waited a month, and it still isn't fixed. They won't call her back. They won't return her calls. They will not even acknowledge. They ghosted her, essentially. What they're doing now is they got the money, and now they don't want to have to invest any more time into it because they know they screwed up. So not only is a good service provider someone who's going to get it right, but he's also the one that's going to come back and make it right. He's not going to just leave you hanging when he screws up, because he's going to screw up. I screw up. I make mistakes. So I want to make sure that it's crystal clear that I am not trying to tell you that I've never screwed up, that I've never had a customer get mad at me because I did something wrong, that I could tell you many stories of all of my different screw-ups, But what makes a good service provider in that situation is, does he come back? Does he make it right? Does he try, or does he just come back out, shotgun it again? Because I've seen that situation too. Oh, well, now it must be this. So they've already got $200 invested. Now they hit them for another $200. That's also that's just a bad situation to get in. But, so I hope to clarify, I've made plenty of mistakes. I've screwed up plenty of times, and I am certainly trying to tell people that I have never made a mistake. I am not Mr. Perfect. I have screwed up. You're always going to have those ones that kick your butt. I don't care how long you've been doing this. There's always that one that no matter what you do, it just doesn't want to be fixed. And they're going to make you dread going to work that day, because it's that same one that you've been trying to fix over and over. So everybody goes through that. Every service provider has that. It's what they do to make it right when you're calling them again saying, hey, This thing's still not fixed. Do they come back out? Do they charge you again? Do they hit you for $200 more worth of shotgun parts? Because that's, we always call those guys shotgun repairs. They just blast a bunch of parts at it and hope one of them fixes it. And in this particular area, and in the service world, that in this area, keep in mind, honestly, there's more bad than there's good. I've seen more bad service than I have good service providers. What does it take to be an appliance repairman? What special license do I have to have? I don't. I've seen guys show up, get a yellow page ad, and decide they're an appliance servicer. And in truth, it's fine that way. A lot of people would say, well, you should have to get the government involved or get some licensing involved. No, it takes care of itself. Because what happens is that guy don't last. He's gone as fast as he shows up. People, they'll use him once, they won't use him twice. And pretty soon they're telling their neighbors, this guy's terrible, don't call him. It takes care of itself. I've watched people come and go over these last 20-some years. I've seen guys come in and disappear as fast as they showed up. It takes care of itself. But I took some time to think about it, and I compiled a very comprehensive, detailed list of all the other service providers in our area that I would recommend for appliance service. So here's that comprehensive list. Ready? So who I would recommend other than myself? Gregory's Repair. That's it. That's the only one I would recommend as a repair shop outside of myself. I worked with them for 20 years. I know they're good. They're good at what they do. Mark's the guy that trained me, right? So I know they're good. The other ones that I know of in the area, some of them aren't good. Some of them I just don't know. I'm not telling you everyone that isn't me or Gregory's is bad. Some of them I just don't know. But there are some that I do know. Quite a few that I do know that I go, I wouldn't have them in my house. And I'm not going to sit here and list them for you. I'm not going to get involved in some defamation lawsuit. I'm not going to sit here and list them off and say this one's bad, this one's bad. I'm just telling you, the other one, other than myself, that I know that I would recommend is Gregory's, and that's it. That's because they're the only ones that I know are any good. And you can't even really trust Google reviews. Of course, I don't even exist on Google. You guys that follow the page know that. I have so much work as it is just having Facebook and word of mouth. I don't need Google. But I have seen guys on Google that I have followed their work. I know they're terrible. I have talked to I've talked to Mark on one particularly. He says, yeah, I'm running around behind this guy's mess all the time. But if you go to their Google site, they got a 4-point-something review. I don't understand that. And I got looking closer. I think they're a long-established business that has changed hands because they initially had a lot of, such a large quantity of good reviews that it's still outweighing but if you look at anything in the last few years, it's constantly 1 star and a terrible story. So you can't even really trust Google reviews. You really got to kind of do your research there. But anyways, I think the biggest thing I really wanted to communicate to you guys is I am not trying to hold myself up as Mr. Wonderful, that I've never made a mistake. I could do a whole series on all the things that I've ever screwed up. I could tell you about the house I flooded down near, where was that? 4 Mile, kind of between Morley and Stanwood. Years ago, and that was just because I was being lazy and I didn't change a water seal on a transmission and didn't realize that was an updated transmission because it didn't need a water seal. It was just a clunky transmission that was brand new. Nothing wrong with that water seal, except they updated the transmission and the shaft size was different, so the water seal didn't touch I flooded that house. There's other things I could go over and tell you that everybody screws up. Everybody makes mistakes. I make them. It's what people do when they make a mistake to make it right, and do they do that as a rule? There's guys that I've known in this field that they're chasing their tail and they're chasing their own mistakes, or other companies are chasing them religiously all the time. Is that the manner of their service? Is they're constantly screwing up? But everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. I still make mistakes. So I'm just trying to make sure I didn't communicate in any way that I'm trying to say that I've never screwed up. I have screwed up. So, yeah. I mean, but as far as bad service goes, you know, that was what I was trying to communicate. You get somebody in there that doesn't have any rhyme or reason, doesn't walk you through it, doesn't even really put his hands on it, and just says it needs a control. That's a big red flag. That guy probably doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't know what's wrong. So he's gonna cross his fingers and throw a control on it. That's usually not a good sign. But anyways, I'm gonna get to work. You guys have a good day.